and I want to present some new ideas about depression to the TED audience. So the first idea is that depression is a very serious problem, but our current approaches to it aren't working. So depression affects about 1 in 5 people, and depression contributes to about 40,000 suicides a year in the United States. When you look worldwide, depression is projected to become an even more serious problem. The World Health Organization says by 2030 it's going to become the most burdensome health condition. When we look at young people, we see that depression is affecting them as much or more as older cohorts, despite the fact that young people have been alive much less time. And we have to understand that our current approaches to depression really view it in terms of defects. So what's wrong with the depressed person? They must have faulty cognitions, they must have faulty biology, this notion of the chemical imbalance, which has been the main driver of research in treatment. The antidepressants, where we've invested so much hope in this approach, and since the 1950s we have 26 different antidepressants, but there's been no increase in the efficacy of the antidepressants over time. But someone didn't get this memo. So despite the fact that they don't work any better now than they used to, antidepressant prescriptions have been soaring to the point where about 11% of the population is taking antidepressants. So we have this terrible epidemic, and it seems really foolish to expect that doing more of the same thing is going to produce a different result. So in the remainder of the talk, I present an alternative to this defect model that really departs from the idea that depression is about moods that we've been naturally endowed with by evolution, moods that help us ordinarily to pursue high moods, pursue rewards, and low moods that ordinarily help us to stop behaving in situations where it might be risky or dangerous. And we have to appreciate that no adaptation is perfect. So the deer for eons has been helped by this adaptation to freeze at the sign of danger. And that's great when your environment contains coyotes, but not so great when your environment now contains cars. So if we want to understand the depression epidemic, we have to appreciate how much our environment has changed. Not that humans have become suddenly more defective, but that our cultural environment, our technological environment, our physical environment has changed dramatically in the last 10,000 years. And has really created the perfect storm for mood, and that's really what much of the talk will discuss. So changes in the physical environment, so not getting enough light. Changes in the technological environment. Now we use these electronic devices that delay our sleep and leave us in the morning feeling fatigued for the rest of the day. Changes in our cultural environment. So for example, the rise of self-help, which has led people to have these very unrealistic ideas about what they ought to feel. And more broadly, a culture which it encourages people to have overly ambitious goals, whether they're goals for fame, goals for beauty, or goals for fortune. This is contributing to a world where people are chronically dissatisfied with their pursuit of goals and are experiencing chronically low mood. But the good news is that this view of mood as an adaptation, that a mood system has many things that are changing. It offers many handholds, many ways that we can individually try to improve our mood, right? So that the same factors, whether it's sleep, light, physical activities, goals for mood, these are things that people can change. And so too we can change our attitudes, our beliefs about depression. So not that it's about defects and that depressed people ought to hide, that depressed people ought to remain in the shadows, but rather we can see depression is a natural thing that many people struggle with, and we can try to bring it out of the dark, and that's what we're trying to do in the Come Out of the Dark campaign at USF. And so that's a positive idea that I would close the talk with. Thank you.